show, yelling and screaming on the front row. Jumped on stage, knocked me down, you made me horny. I drug you around, put you in the van, took you to the tail. On the way there, you was texting on your cell. You jumped out the van before I got the room. Hopped in the car with your girl and went zoom. You danced with girls like a freak. You promised me a threesome last week. Another girl, it's hard to find. What about what's her name? She changed her mind. So many people coming through. I can't get time alone with you. At least I had privacy, single and pole. With you, I can't even jack off no more. You full of shit.
All right, well, hopefully it's working.
And you need to quit.
I swear, it's only whenever I do this that I have the problems. But maybe we got it figured out.
You got a real bad temper. I got another
Okay.
that wants me to pimp her. Out of sight, out of mind.
So things have gotten real here, looks like.
You're too controlling. My chin is something you shouldn't be holding.
And I do have the Bed Bath & Beyond lawsuit here. I've read through most of it.
When I open your legs, I smell fish. You talk too much to everybody. So flirtatious.
So we can take a look at that.
How can you be jealous on Facebook, keeping up with your ex fellas? You full of shit, full of shit, full of shit.
As well. Oh. Okay. And I do have a Bed Bath & Beyond search up here as well, but I don't want to harp too much on this for a number of reasons, but
You're so annoying. My career, you're destroying. You're such an envelope pusher, such a gossip gusher. It's not fly to me for you to invade my privacy. Money take, trouble make, orgasm fake. Who's fucking up my schedule and they won't give me head? Oh, that's you. You wanna run away with my daughter? Meet a new man in Florida. I'm in the studio, rocking it steady.
okay, so I don't know if this is going to work. We'll find out though.
And you need to quit. Baby, you full of shit, full of shit, full of shit. And you need to quit.
Okay,
You full of shit, full of shit.
I'm just gonna give it a shot here. See what happens. Okay, so here's here's a good place to get information on Mama.
So I just heard that Kevin, free from it all,
Yes.
has a potential lawsuit now against John Wick snipping. And
God.
I was just watching his video, Kevin, free from it all, and he was saying that during one of John's live streams, he used something of a copyright material that Kevin, free from it all, owned. John used it on his live stream, and if that's the case, John's in the wrong, because you cannot use copyrighted material without the direct permission of the
Well,
copyright
that's not
owner.
true.
But then Kevin, free from it all, was going forward saying, if I hear that you're talking trash or stuff like that, you know, I'll sue you for that as well. That's where I kind of like I'm like this. You know, there's a lot of things that are involved. Look, we live in a free country. We have the right.
So I was on the backup server. I went to the primary server because the backup server was dropping out. And the primary server is doing okay, but everything else is not. So let me try lowering my settings here.
a freedom of speech, especially comedians. I mean,
God.
comedians make jokes at the president of the United States.
Yeah, not so great. Yeah, I pretty much optimized everything. And I've even got 2 different connections here, and both of them seem to be giving me trouble. So I don't know.
They make jokes at people in power, and it's very, very difficult to sue someone over that. You know what I mean? Like, who's that guy? Bill Mayer. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Mayer, whatever. But I remember he made that joke on Donald Trump. Remember, before Donald Trump was the president, saying that he was a spawn of an orangutan or something, because there was this monkey that had like hair that looked exactly like Donald Trump. So he claimed, again, this is not me. I just want to be perfectly clear. This was Bill Mayer, that Donald Trump, his mother, which is terrible to say. I mean, I know it's a joke, but that was really, his poor mother, that passed away. It's what was it? I think it's Mary Trump. And he was saying that she, had intercourse with an orangutan.
Yeah, this is not
produced Donald Trump.
God.
So
what the hell?
Then he said something like that he was willing to make a bet or something. It's like, the whole thing was crazy. That if Donald Trump could produce, I don't know, I think it was his birth certificate that shows who his true parents were, that's something like he would donate $5 million to
Well, at this rate, we may just see where the futures open up and call it a night.
a charity.
I don't know.
Birth certificate. And was asking him to go forward and donate $5 million. I think he got thrown out of court. I gotta say, for a second there, I thought that Donald Trump was going to win, because he had him on the record actually saying that if he produces his birth certificate. Now, of course, he was doing all of this as a joke.
Oh, come on. It's already buffed. It's already loaded all this shit. Why? Oh, my God.
President Barack Obama to produce his birth certificate. So he was kind of just getting back at Donald Trump and all this stuff. But the thing is, Donald Trump actually did produce his birth certificate. So I actually thought for a second that Donald Trump had a legitimate lawsuit, because I'm saying, listen, he called out what he said, but I think it got
okay. Well,
thrown out in court.
Great.
So
I'm glad that we heard that story again.
When you're trying to sue someone over slander, I mean, it's really, really difficult. It's really difficult. You have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that that person had very bad intentions and was intentionally trying to hurt you with your comment, was intentionally trying to cost you your reputation, financial losses, and things of that nature. And if you can't prove that because it's a joke, that's difficult. But as far as copyright infringement, no, that's pretty easy. If someone is using your copyrighted protected material without your permission, that's a direct violation.
Depends on how you're using it. It depends on how you're using it. If you present it as yours and it belongs to somebody else, yes. If you are reviewing it, creating a new work based on it, then that's something called fair use, which is what we rely on in order to critique and comment and produce new content using this crap that belongs to these creators. I'm not claiming that it's mine. I'm not taking credit for it. I'm commenting on it, creating a new work with this as some kind of underlying source material. That's fair use. So it's more nuanced, like everything with these guys. It's more nuanced than his oversimplification. Just throwing that out there.
So we'll see what happens with that. I know that John Wick snippet replied. I think he might have got a copyright strike. I dealt with that before myself, with certain things that I on my YouTube channel when I was using I switched my channel to what's called a third-party user, meaning that I let YouTube know that it's my intention that I want to cover certain music. Like I want to perform, other people's copyrighted music, but it'll just be my cover of it. And that's, if you're doing a cover, that's fine. You see what I'm trying to say? But you just have to inform YouTube that that's the case. This is, you're doing a cover. And as long as you set your settings to that and you let YouTube, because at first I didn't know that either, but as long as you let YouTube know that it's your cover, you're okay.
What if it's not a song?
But if you're not letting YouTube know anything, what I'm trying to say, and you're not getting the permission of the copyright holder and you're using copyrighted material, that's copyright infringement. That could not only lead to a strike, but it could lead to a lawsuit. We'll see what happens.
Okay. And then now, so I did change something. We'll see if it's changes anything or not. Not distracting me that way. Okay. All right. Here's Morant's rants. AMC will cost you everything, part 1. Yeah, he sure does sound hungry, doesn't he?
All right, guys. So I've been thinking about this because somebody asked me this question, so I'm going to answer it. It's a Twitter question. So they're like, "Hey, Morantz, you just don't know AMC Ape. They're on the threshold list. They're going to hit the moon. They're going to go." And I'm just like, "You're retarded. Like, you really don't know what's going on." So I'm just going to break it down for you really quick. I have things to do today, but I do care about the AMC investor. Sure.
Why?
One, I told you 2 weeks ago that it was going to come down in price. Everyone knew it was going to come down in the whole thing, our whole lives. But BlackRock sold their shares, 40% of their shares, before the split when it was at $27. Imagine if it was at $27 and you would have sold compared to where it's at now. It's at $8 right now. Come on down. The insiders sold all their shares. They barely own over 1 million shares, whatever it may be, and they don't have much value in this stock. They control $9 million worth of a market cap of $4 billion, $5 billion. Okay, and that's key though. That's very key, and here's why. This is the only way it's going to play out, and I wish it were going to play out a different way, but it can't. Adam Aron's going to sell shares eventually, and when he does sell shares, the price of Ape is going to plummet, because the minute you make that announcement, it will hit rock bottom. It really will. I don't care how many you sell. I don't care if it's 40 million, 50 million. You're going to have to dilute somewhat of the float. The price right now is $5 to $6 a share. It's not worth much. $5 to $6 is not where you want to be, and here's why: because you can't sell the whole 484 million. It's just not possible. No one's going to buy it. No one's going to buy it at that price, and you don't get one price for all said shares. As you sell off and you dilute the float, you will in turn lose value the whole way through. So it'll keep dropping and dropping and dropping. So I'll give it to you this way: if he started right now, it would be $2 a share is what it would end up being. And where's your investment at? What is it at? Because it's never coming back, right? So Ape units are never going to come back in value. They're never going to get to this crazy price that you think it's going to get to, because they have no value whatsoever. It's just a vehicle to drive liquidity out of the stock, in which they did. They drove it out of that stock. And for some of you guys who claim you're buying it or they haven't been delivered to everybody, you're delusional. And I'm going to tell you again, like I told you 2 weeks ago, you're wrong again. Here's the problem. No one wants to buy AMC right now. And it's not because it's a failed company or any of that. It's because it's held hostage by Adam Aron and the Ape equity itself. If I buy AMC shares today, I don't get the Ape unit like I would have 2 weeks ago. This is why you have nobody buying in. Everyone's selling off. I know you're not selling off, or anyone else you claim, but guys, don't listen to me. Do what you've been doing and see where it gets you. You're wrong. It's okay to admit it. We can carry on now. Peace.
Okay. All BlackRock has been the main institution lending shares. I will buy more APE this Tuesday. Straight footing AMC is technically at 13 to 14, not 8. Good. Oh, there's part 2. Part 2. Here we go.
All right, so there is a part 2 because I wasn't finished with my thought there. The other part about this is when you do sell off, like when Aron does sell off and he creates all this money for his company, people are like, well, that takes away the short thesis. And it does everything but that, because it actually dilutes the float, dilutes the stock completely. There's no value for your shares.
Right.
There's the first thing. There'll be a float of 1.5 billion at that point, or the ape will just sit out on its own and never come over to AMC. The board has to vote on that. But if they do vote on that, someone will then have the power to overtake this company at pennies on the dollar. So if that's the plan, to let ape fall all the way to the ground, which is possibly part of it, and then in turn have enough votes to turn the shares and so that he can take back his company and or sell it off to someone else, because they have zero path to profitability. If you don't understand what the hell I'm saying, run it back. AMC
oh yeah, I heard
has
it was over 100 degrees
shares
out there, Len. That's crazy.
on the float, and I know it's 516. I'm just ballparking.
It rained all day today here. Probably still raining out there.
Right now, they have 500 million ape. Aron has 483 million ape as well. When he sells off a portion of it, I don't care how much, the value is going to go and plummet the minute it makes announced. Once it gets announced, and your shares on AMC on the counter side, no one wants to buy them because that value of that ticker is tied into ape. Do you guys get this yet? Has it even hit you? It should have. If they pay off their debt, they're going to have the same amount of debt within 2 to 3 years right after, because they don't make money. And when I mean they don't make money, I mean there is no way that they make a profit. It's not even possible. Movies are not doing what they used to do. $1 billion on Top Gun is actually not $1 billion compared to 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. It's an inflated dollar. And there's the patrons themselves. The actual foot traffic for movie theaters has decreased almost 80% in the last 10 years. No one wants to tell you the truth. Regal, they told you the truth. They filed bankruptcy. Cinemark, they make money. There's a big difference. They've done 0 share offerings. They actually have $695 million cash on hand. They make money off of those movies that are there because their companies run correctly. This guy, Aron, not running the business the right way. I never told you to buy that shitty-ass stock, and I never will. It's a poor investment, and it's the worst way to go. Peace. You're going down.
Peace, you're going down. What you see here is a man who is insecure in his position in GameStop, so he's allowing his ego to compromise his character by stooping to bashing another security, one which he most likely thinks may actually be a better play. Mr. Morantz, reconsider this shallow tactic because 1, no one cares what you think about AMC. We have already made our decision. And 2, it paints you as an insecure manipulator of others. I challenge you to elevate your thinking and behavior. This simple-minded bashing does not become you. 96 in Rancho Santa Fe. Got to become a member of the 3-digit club. Rancho Santa Fe. I don't even know where that's at. San Diego? Okay. Well, anyway, I don't want to give away anybody's location, even though he did. But that's outside, right? 115. Yeah, we were looking at Death Valley. California was over 1. It's 118 right now, and the high was 124, or is 124, I guess. with a low of 93. That's crazy. A low of 93. Let's see. So random. GME in the red, 12, 13 days. The only reason AMC isn't cash flow positive is due to debt payments. Get rid of debt by sacrificing positions, and APE and AMC will. APE can't be converted to AMC without retail approval, since retail owns over 90% of the float, confirmed by CEO over three times of both AMC and APE, since all of APE went directly to retail as a dividend share. P.S. You said no one wants to buy APE or AMC or APE, so the 90% retail ownership still in both is fantasy to you. Let's not forget shorts have to do the buying. That is how they cover. If retail's still holding 90% of both, shorts are fucked because they'll have to buy the shares directly from us directly, or from a dilution standpoint. Either way, we will be short squeezing eventually from the shorts alone, which is bigger short data than June 2021. So there you go. That is probably the worst understanding that anybody could have of this, but right. Tell us about GME and NFTs, please. We want to know. Gaming NFTs will be the next big thing in about 3 to 5 years or so. Negative banana. Wouldn't Microsoft be bigger than GameStop? They make games. GameStop equals middleman. You thinking too big. NFTs are to cut out the gaming developers. That includes Microsoft. The devs themselves will eventually leave big studios where they get royalties off their work instead of gaming studios taking all the profits. Don't worry about it. Most people don't understand this. GameStop will just provide the infrastructure to help facilitate this. Games, movies, TV shows, books, music, etc. What? What the Let's see. That's, yeah. I thought there'd be more stuff out. Oh, shit. The futures. Fuck. Think. There we go. There it is. X volatility futures. Books, how's that going to work? Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, no, they don't read. These people don't read, do they? Yeah, I don't get that. Yeah, rain with solar flares and hedge funds after me, right? Guess I don't need that on there yet. Something like that. I mean, I've taken so many actions over the last week or so to remedy the problems. And for a minute there, I thought it was going to work, but so natural gas is up a good 30 cents or 3.6%. Other than that, I mean, stocks are down a little bit, but talking 0.1% or something. Actually, the S&P opened a little bit. It is currently a little bit up. Okay. So let me get back over here. Okay. Now, I don't know what exactly this dude is talking about, but AMC stocks to squeeze in the dark pool.
Guys, now we know why they actually created the dark pool and why actually payment for order flow will cost even more money for retail investors. According to the research of the guy that we're going to watch right now, the idea over here is that reducing the liquidity on the lit markets extends the spreads. So this means that every order that you actually want to route through the lit markets costs you more money. And this was intentionally created from people who are managing this.
Should I go back and put the subtitles on? Let's see if they actually work.
Guys, now we know why they actually created the dark pool and why actually payment for order flow will cost even more money for retail investors. According to the research of the guy
I can't translate. I mean, I can't interpret it though.
Right now, the idea over here is that reducing the liquidity on the lit markets extends the spreads. So this means that every order that you actually want to route through the lit markets costs you more money. And this was intentionally created from people who are managing these off-exchange platforms, wholesalers who execute your order. In other words, they drove all the liquidity out of the lit markets. We all know 60, 70, 80, 90% of the whole trades on the general market currently are executed somewhere else, off exchange or through the dark pools. Listen how the whole game works and why the short squeeze plays most likely are the most affected stocks.
So when Robinhood and Citadel say, oh, we're doing great by the retail traders by giving them price improvement based on the NBBO, it's just an artificial, misleading number that's disguising how much money is being taken out of the pockets of retail traders.
Dennis, I'm no apologist for the firms you're talking about by any stretch, but I'll take you back 15 years when, you know, the brokers were buying stocks at a quarter, filling their customers at a half. I mean, yep. I would submit, maybe incorrectly, that the playing field has never been more level for the retail investor. And what you're talking about, although probably factually true, is infinitesimal when compared to what this was a decade and a half ago.
But that's like saying, you know, cars 10 years ago cost twice as much, but now they're so much more efficient. And it's just, that's not the right comparison. The comparison is today, the law says retail traders should get best execution, period. And now what has happened is that these inside players who are making a fortune off of retail traders have defined best execution as the NBBO, knowing that that's not the best available trade at the time, the best available price at the time, and pocketing the difference and not disclosing it, and indeed bragging about the fact that they're giving all sorts of money to retail traders. It's fundamentally misleading, if not outright fraud. And it's happening every day, and it's costing retail traders billions and billions of dollars. So A, there should be full disclosure across the board so retail traders actually know what they're paying for the stock that they're buying. And if they can't do that, they...
At the heart of this, Dennis, is this notion that so much volume is happening off exchange, either via wholesalers or the dark pool, and that there is an accuracy in price when so much of the volume is actually happening off exchange, and the prices that we see, you know, scrolling across on the ticker are different. You know, it's the lit market, so it's right. You know, half the volume. Is that the root of the problem? I mean, is that part of this?
Well, a big part of the problem was just unintended consequences from a law passed, you know, over a decade ago called Reg NMS. But what we have now is about 47% of all the equity trades today are happening on the dark side of the market. And that means the lit side of the market has much wider spreads because it has much less liquidity. And what's even worse is that in the lit markets, the exchanges, to compete with the dark pools, the internalizers, the high frequency traders, the lit markets engage in their own conflicts of interest and disguised payments that distort order flow all over the place. And they've got maker taker and they've got rebates and things like that. And so we have both sides, the dark side and the lit side, full of these conflicts of interest, full of basically, even if it's legal, predatory behavior, all of which is to the disadvantage of the buy side and retail traders. So let's clean it all up. Let's have a standard that says best execution requires the best available price at the time, period. I believe that that will reduce dramatically the amount of trading on the dark side. It will cause liquidity to flow into the lit markets, which will have a standard that can be policed.
So here how this actually works. You heard that they have to provide the best execution and the best price. How are you going to provide the best price? Well, as I mentioned earlier, you're pushing the whole liquidity on the market, which means that all the shares available for trading are pushed off exchange. So they're holding all these shares, and when you want to buy the dip, you place your order, and because they have more shares in their market center than the New York Stock Exchange, well, they can offer you better execution. This is why the dark pools and the off exchange trading is much more powerful, creates much more trading, and makes much more money. Obviously, this is why recent proposal from New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah, better markets will look that up.
Indirectly saying that wants to become a middleman was a big shock for a lot of people. Now we understand why. Because being a middleman, just driving the flow from here to there and collecting fees for it, is much more profitable than actually being on the lit markets and executing 1 to 10, 15% of the float only, because that's the only flow that is coming to the lit markets. Even Gary Gensler recognized that only a number of orders are hitting the lit market. Almost everything is going through off exchange or dark pools. And for the short squeeze plays, this is very important because this practice is how they can actually influence and abuse the prices of those stocks. Think about it. If you're just constantly hitting the lit exchange, you might be paying a little more because there are not enough shares, right? The process might be slower, they might not using the latest technology to execute your order. But the idea over there is that they don't see reasoning to price abuse these particular stocks. They don't have so much information. Essentially, they know how many people want to buy, which stock they want to buy, and they can actually, front run people who are interested in this particular stock, either on the way up or on the way down. This is why, guys, it's very, very interesting to see if Gary Gensler actually and the ACC put a particular requirement for certain percentage of the orders on open market to be executed to the lit exchange, to be like a rule, right? Like at least 50 or 60% of the trades to be executed through the lit markets. And then you're gonna see much smaller spread when you route your order to the
You think so, huh?
lit markets,
okay.
IEX, for example. And then you're gonna see much better pricing, and then most likely you're gonna see a less or lower price abuse, because then what will be left on the market for the off-exchange wholesalers, market centers will be what, 40-50% max. Very, very interesting interview, guys. Leave your thoughts in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and come back for more.
Loud ass music. Better markets, non-profit, nonpartisan, independent organization. Yeah, right. Working to build a more secure financial system for all Americans. Is this astroturfing by somebody? Like, who's behind this? I don't know. Here's their YouTube channel. Hip/cool logos.
as Robinhood gets ready to go public. And check out this headline splashed across the front page of the Wall Street Journal today. Robinhood's debut is clouded by SEC scrutiny for payment for order flow. The Journal pointing out that payment for order flow accounted for 81% of Robinhood's first quarter revenues.
Right. Okay. The 2020 SEC enforcement action against Robinhood showed that the payment for order flow revenue extracted from the retail traders' orders exceeded what they would have paid if charged a commission. Really? Wouldn't you have to pay a commission, like a percentage of the sale price? So how could you say that? Seems like there wouldn't be enough information to make that determination.
The problem with payment for order flow is there's a conflict of interest between the Robinhoods of the world and their retail clients and the owners of Robinhood, which want to maximize their profits, which come for payment for order flow. So if you think about it this way, every order that a retail trader places with Robinhood or the others who accept payment for order flow, they take a cut, and that cut is basically added to the price of the stock.
I didn't even notice what the tickers were saying on this. Okay.
Across the board, so
oh, look at that. He cropped it out. Motherfucker. These fucking bastards. Yeah, it's absolutely the same clip. Right? Same tie. Let's see. He's got all the tickers cropped out. Can't get, there's no context clues. Maybe because with the commission, you know the amount, payment for order flow, you don't. But you can, I mean, they have to tell you though. And if you, well, if you use limit orders, you know what your price is going to be. I think that's the same clip. I can't tell actually. Everything looks exactly the same. Fuck. So this is from July 26th. Aron just exposed the real numbers. That's embarrassing. Okay. Yeah, okay, it's the same clip. This be Bed Bath & Beyond stuff here. I try to see what's going on with that. So I do have the lawsuit here. And I did read through it. So a couple things that stood out here. The lawsuit is named against Bed Bath & Beyond, JP Morgan Securities, RC Ventures, and Ryan Cohen as electronic trading. I forget what they're called. Society for Electronic Trading or something like that. And they are basically arguing the exact opposite thing. They're arguing that that the system is good, it's better. They have facts that support that. So who knows? But I don't think that it's probably not on either extreme. It's probably somewhere in the middle. And you probably can't generalize about everybody's experience. But so Ping Cheng Si is the plaintiff here. And it is a class action complaint. Basically, they said that they reviewed and analyzed Bed Bath & Beyond Corporation, Ryan Cohen, and Arnal Gustavo's public filings with the SEC. Company press release and presentations, public news, public reports and news articles, research reports by securities and financial analysts, economic analysis of securities movement, pricing data, transcripts of Bed Bath & Beyond's investor calls, and other publicly available material. So they are saying that defendant RC Ventures and Ryan Cohen bought nearly a 10% stake in Bed Bath & Beyond in March 2022. Arnal Gustavo served as the company's executive vice president, chief financial officer, and treasurer since May 2020. At all times, Gustavo, as the executive vice president, let me get back to that, sorry, controlled day-to-day affairs of Bed Bath & Beyond, while Cohen has extensive involvement in management decision-making process through his ownership stake, blah, blah, blah. JP Morgan has served as Bed Bath & Beyond financial advisor and stock sales agent for Cohen at all times relevant to this lawsuit. Through mid-August 2022, Bed Bath & Beyond appeared from the company's public statements and financial reporting to be a successful turning around company. The company appeared to be moving rapidly towards growth and profitability through fundamentally reshaping strategies and spinning off Bbby business. The picture, however, was almost entirely a fiction. From March 2022 through August 2022, Cohen, in conspiracy with Gustavo, JPM, and others, engaged in a fraudulent scheme to artificially inflate the price of Bed Bath & Beyond publicly traded stock. More specifically, Cohen, Gustavo, and others, with JPM's aiding and abetting, blatantly misrepresented the value and profitability of BBBY inter alia, causing BBBY to report revenues that was fictitious and B, publicly announce that the company is successfully on the way, spinning off Bbby to unlock full value of this tremendous asset, when in reality, the Bbby business were small with minimal revenues, and outside companies would pay Bed Bath & Beyond only a small fraction of the announced prices. And so on and so forth here. Cohen approached Gustavo about his plan to accumulate shares of Bed Bath & Beyond and to assume command of the company's public float. Cohen convinced Gustavo their plan would be a mutually beneficial one. With control over a significant portion of the public float, Cohen would essentially act as a price support for the stock, while Gustavo would act in a similar capacity by controlling the sale of shares by insiders. Under this arrangement, defendants would profit handsomely from the rise in price and could coordinate their selling of shares to optimize their returns. Scrolling down here to the sale portion. On August 16th, a Schedule 13D was filed to the SEC, on which Cohen stated that, quote, as of the date hereof, RC Ventures directly beneficially owned 9.4 million shares, including 1.6 million shares underlying certain call options, constituting approximately 11.8% of the shares outstanding. Mr. Cohen, as manager of RC Ventures, may be deemed to beneficially own the 9.4 million shares directly beneficially owned by RC Ventures, blah, blah, blah. The filing also revealed that Cohen had held on to his April call options that would only begin to pay out should the stock hit $60 a share before January 20th, 2023. The submission was made via the SEC's EDGAR system and was immediately available to the public. This filing, which was signed by Cohen, who knew that the information contained in the filing was false, in price on the public, and C, Cohen actually dumped most of his shares as of the date hereof on August 16th. Okay. Investors, not knowing Cohen's filing was false and misleading, continued to buy millions of shares of the stock. Spurred by Cohen's filings, the stock price swung 75% from $15.36 to $28.60 later that day. Also, on August 16th, with the Schedule 13D in place, despite Cohen having almost liquidated all of his Bed Bath & Beyond positions, Cohen filed Form 144 on paper, providing notice of his intent to sell up to all of his shares and additional call options. This filing was not disclosed to the public until the market closed the next day. August 17th, 2022 at 5:07 p.m., when Cohen finished his dumping of Bed Bath & Beyond shares. Right after the disclosure of the filing, the shares tumbled after hours from a record high $30 per share to around $22.50 per share. Stock goes down then, plunging to new lows. Okay. And it goes on about, okay, Bed Bath & Beyond, materially false and misleading statements issued on the 18th. So they released an 8K form on the 18th. So the filing was, it said that, quote, "We are pleased to have reached a constructive agreement with RC Ventures in March and are committed to maximizing value for all shareholders." They made no mention of the buying frenzy pumping the price, and then the share dumping crash created by the collusion by the defendants. The filing was signed by Gustavo, who personally had the knowledge that Cohen and himself had closed all of their position. However, the statement was insufficiently clear to infer that Bed Bath & Beyond cooperation with Cohen fell apart, while that Bbby and Gustavo knew or should have known already that Cohen's fraudulent filings of the 13D and Form 144 and Cohen's selling of Bbby stocks long before the public did. Gustavo and JP Morgan knew or should have known that Cohen and RC exited their positions by the time the filing was made. On further information and belief, Cohen, Gustavo, and JPM discussed their exit strategy before they dumped their shares. Yada, yada, yada. Concealed material facts and misled investors. And then it talks about the media articles and yada, yada, yada. So, damages. Bed Bath & Beyond shareholders, along with the company's interests represented thereby, had sustained losses of approximately $1.2 billion. Defendant's wrongful conduct directly and proximately caused the economic loss suffered by plaintiff and his family of other class members. We're talking about fraud here. Traded at an artificially inflated price because of the materially false and misleading statements given. Let's see. They're saying that the market itself there was a problem with the market itself. It was a listed stock. They filed their reports. etc. So, you know, because it was a listed stock, everything was cool with it. The market for BBBY common stock promptly digested current information regarding Bed Bath & Beyond from all publicly available sources and reflected that information in the price. Under these circumstances, all purchasers of the stock during the class period suffered similar injury through their purchase at artificially inflated prices. Here's the prayer for relief. Requiring defendants to pay damages sustained by plaintiff in the class by reason of the acts and transactions alleged herein, awarding plaintiff and the other members of the class prejudgment and post-judgment interest, as well as reasonable attorney fees, expert fees, and other costs, and any other relief that the court deems just and proper. So, dated August 23rd. And if anybody wants to read this, here it is in the chat. So, now, I'm not really that interested in looking at just all these random videos here. Like, I know this, we know the story, we know what happened. Is there anything that here's, you know, Donahue George saying, oh, that, you know, somebody killed him. In fact, you know, that's probably one of the dumbest videos that there probably is. So go ahead and get that one out of the way.
It's not financial advice. It's not legal advice for entertainment, educational purpose only, and everything I say is my opinion. Please don't make any financial decision based on anything I say in these videos. That being said, hit the like button, subscribe button on my YouTube algorithm stuff so you get the videos I put them out, see what I'm thinking, see how I'm analyzing the data. But like I tell you every day, the data they release to us is absolutely incorrect. It's false. They're meant to give us a false narrative of the market and mess with us psychologically so we can make bad trading decisions. And then they can capitalize on that. Anyway, it seems to be very, very dangerous to be a Russian oligarch or a mem stock CEO at this point. The CFO for Bed Bath & Beyond allegedly jumped to his death off the Jenga building in New York City. He had just sold about $1 million worth of Bed Bath & Beyond stock on August 16th, more or less, and they were in the process of closing 150 stores. And they had just got another, I think, about $500 million in new financing. So they were restructuring. He's just sold $1 million worth of Bed Bath & Beyond stock, not even a month, what was that, like 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago. And then somehow he decided, I do not want to live anymore. I want to commit suicide. I want to end my life. I think it's
well, you left out a very important detail, Donahue. Left out a very important detail. Just saying. Just saying. You did.
Interest in the
where the hell? Oh, there it is.
A little strange. Just like the Russian oligarchs.
He left this out.
For some reason, all these Russian oligarchs
left out the lawsuit.
To have accidents. They tend to have accidents. So if you're a Russian oligarch or you're a mem stock CEO, you need to be very, very careful of your surroundings.
He's not the CEO, though.
Because you guys seem to be accident prone. Anyway, and I'm not trying to make a joke about it. I mean, it's really, really horrible. It's really, really horrible what's going on. But, I mean, anytime anybody loses their life, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy because no matter what you're going through, taking your life should never be an option. Anyway, have a great day. God bless. I appreciate you on this journey with me.
Yeah. Yep. So that's we got that take. Now, also over here on the Bed Bath & Beyond subreddit, it's a total shit show. So yeah, that's actually something we saw. Where was that? Supposedly, but interesting that basically happened right after the form was submitted or received or whatever, on basically a few minutes later on the 18th. But interesting coincidence. So maybe that was already scheduled, and then Gustavo was like, "Hey, well, Ryan, why don't you sell on the 16th? Because I already have a sale that's going to happen. Then why don't we set it up for then? Possible? I don't know. I don't think that. What is he talk? What are you guys talking about? True. What's true? What are we talking about? The suicide thing? Yeah, it's true. Or him dying, I guess. Yeah. No, CFO, not CEO. No, it's only a difference of one letter. It's literally the next letter. But the CEO was recently canned. But that I forget his name. There's some lady who's interim, I think. But anyway, yeah, that happened for sure. Here I have an insider article right here. But this is Bed Bath & Beyond CFO, who died after falling from New York City high-rise, was the subject of insider trading and fraud lawsuit just before death. So, and that's what we were looking at, which I put in the chat. So that's why I say Donnie left out that fact, and this happened Friday. He was 52 years old, and its corporate staff got one of those 20% off coupons, in a manner of speaking, that we all love. So, and the person who filed the lawsuit, who the named plaintiff, Ping Cheng Si, this person, and I believe it's a female, she is a lawyer. So she is a practicing lawyer in Washington, D.C., D.C., Virginia area. So, and they have had a couple previous lawsuits, not against Bed Bath & Beyond or even of the same nature, but they have, she sued Bed Bath & Beyond. In the previous one, I saw it on Justia. Well, she sued the IRS. This was in 2020. And then also, Lao Guy Research Foundation. This is from 2009. I don't know what this is about. But I don't know exactly what Those were in reference to like a year and a half ago. That was the IRS lawsuit, I think. So I don't think it has anything to do with this. Those are the only two I saw. Just looking at Ryan Cohen here. There's not, I mean, so not a lot on him in the wake of this. But I have a goddamn feeling. Well, it's just hard for me to believe that Ryan. I mean, like I told the people in Telegram earlier, I think. Like, I have a hard time believing that he would do this for $60 million. On the other hand, these kind of people are never held accountable, even if they do this shit, usually. So it's possible he knew that. But I mean, also in this lawsuit, there aren't a lot of facts that are given. It says that after they do discovery, that they will show this, yada yada yada. So it's an allegation, but I'd really like to see the substantiating evidence, to be honest. But it seems like it's plausible. But why though? Seems pretty dumb. And the lawsuit alleges that Ryan Cohen approached Gustavo. Like he was the one who, it was his idea. He started it. We'll see. So yeah, Model 3 dude brings up a good point. We got to get to the CSI BS. So here we go. This is the newest one, I think. Back to the How ridiculous. Okay.
In this video, you're going to need a pen and paper because what I'm going to be sharing with you are two giants who are about to take a nosedive into the market, and it could very well start the collapse. I'm going to tell you who they are. I'm going to tell you when they sent a notice to their shareholders about it, and I'm going to show you exactly when they begin liquidating. So, pen and paper. Pause it if you need to.
Now, I don't want to be part of any insider trading here. So, hopefully he's got public sources for this shit.
Pen and paper. Get ready. And here we are. We're going to get started. First, I want to say that I was over in the Discord, got a message from Chris. Chris said, hey, CSI, would you be interested in any DD that BlackRock has been suspended from trading? And I said, fuck yeah, I'm interested in that. If BlackRock has been suspended from trading, we need to know about that because BlackRock starts off long in AMC.
Oh, okay. Pushing my luck.
Then they have to sell out of their AMC, and we believe that they were the ones behind the algorithm that was to bring the Moass. So something fell apart. And now you're telling me that BlackRock has been suspended from trading? Fuck yeah, I want to know about that. So he sent me the link. Now, what it says is that BlackRock sent a letter to their shareholders. All right? And what it says is that it's an update on the suspension of the calculation of the NAV of...
Yeah, this clearly says March 10th here. And it says Global Funds, Emerging Europe Fund. So, yeah, wouldn't that be Russia? Ukraine? Something? Or, yeah, I don't know. So this is irrelevant. But what does he say? Does he know that?
On February 28th, that means they freeze the price. That whatever the price is of that fund come March 1st, that would be the locked in price. The content of this letter, you should seek independent professional advice. Now,
I think every one of these guys should seek independent professional advice, to be honest. Not that kind, not financial.
Here, and I said, let me Google of their funds, and that date was March 1st, 2022. Now, you may be saying to yourself, but CSI, this was 6 months ago. This is old news. And I said, yes. And Chris had an interesting question. We started talking about how we can benefit from this.
What is going on here with this video?
He says, do we go with the 2 JP Morgan ETFs, or do we want to go single stock from the ETF like the Pelosi's? And I shared with Chris. I said, well, they're going to suspend
money?
The valuation,
oh my God,
or it is suspended and locked in. So getting in on the ETF wouldn't make sense. But the stocks inside the ETFs are still trading. So that's where the price movement will come, not with the ETF itself.
What is the damn ETF?
Until the crisis is over. So if we had a list of the stocks that were in these 2 funds, then I could narrow it down to what stock would have the most downward pressure on the day that they begin liquidate these stocks from these funds. Oh wait, I forgot to mention that. When I said that if we knew the stocks that were in these funds, we could buy puts in them. So let's find out what stocks were in these funds. Chris comes back to me a few minutes later and he says, CSI, check this out. Here are 2 different funds that JP Morgan says that they're going to be liquidating. And this is on their website, and it was made August 12th, 2022. JP Morgan Asset Management announces liquidation of 2 exchange-traded funds. Another way to say it is they're going to unwind these 2 traded funds. And he said, okay, I'm on it. And then 10 minutes later, here he comes. He gives us a list of stocks, and he says that he's got company over. He has to go. So I said, well, I'll be up to no good while you're gone. And using the links that Chris sent to me, first was the JP Morgan U.S. Dividend ETF. And as you see right here, that's one of the ones that's being liquidated.
Minimum volatility.
In September. It's trading at $32.29. Why? Because it's not, the valuation hasn't been suspended on this dated. This in September. The valuation hasn't been suspended on this ETF. So we can go puts on the ETF, or scroll down and we get a top 10 list holdings of what stocks are in this fund. All right. And then on the other fund, we see
is this fund
JP Morgan U.S. Minimum Volatility ETF, which right here is the second fund that's being liquidated. All right.
Last day of trading.
And I took those names and I put them in a spreadsheet, and I compared the 2 ETFs and made a list of the stocks that were in each one.
Oh dear.
And General Mills is the only stock that is in both funds. So I told Chris, I said, now we got a choice. We could trade puts in the 2 ETFs separately, or since we know that General Mills is going to be in both of them when they liquidate and unwind, then General Mills will have more down pressure than the rest of them because they're only single. Here, they're on, General Mills is on both of them. So that's where we're at right now. We're trying to figure out which way do we want to go come Tuesday. Do we want to go puts on the 2 JP Morgan ETFs, or do we just want to go puts on General Mills? Tell me what y'all think. We haven't even added in that BlackRock's ETFs and the other ones that are going to be liquidated in the month of September. But right here, we know that just like the article says, JP Morgan Asset Management announces liquidation of 2 exchange traded funds, and you see the liquidation date is September 14th. That the last day of trading for these 2 funds will be 9/6/2022, and then liquidation will start of the 2 funds on the 14th of September. So, CSI, don't tell us dates. September 14th. I'm not telling it to you. JP Morgan told you that's when they start unwinding these two funds. And then, as I made this list, Chris comes back to me and he says, I've got more funds that are going to be liquidated. And I told him, I said, look, bro, I got to get some sleep right now. We're on top of it. This is heading in the right direction here. If a lot of these funds had been saying that they're going to liquidate their funds, and here it is, what date are they supposed to liquidate? September 14th. So that's when there will be a lot of down pressure, because I'm telling you, he's finding more that are liquidating. This is when it starts, people. Somewhere around the 14th.
I mean, it did hit all-time highs last week.
Maybe the 16th. But we will see liquidation of these 2 JP Morgan funds starting then. Now, if you want me to, comment down below. We'll go dive a little deeper and we'll find out. I'll make a list of all the other funds that are supposed to be getting liquidated here in December, and which will, as you know, will push the price of the stocks down, and the market's going to crash. It's going to become a fire sale of people that are trying to liquidate and cash up because of collateral requirements.
I'm sure they can probably pass their inflation on to their customers too,
all this
right?
Is about. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You now know that from me and Chris.
So
right now I've got in my notebook not to forget that I have to check these stocks, particularly General Mills, for puts come Tuesday morning. Love y'all. Be blessed. See you in the next video.
God damn it, these guys and their goddamn bullshit. Okay. Pause. So, yeah. Earnings per share, yeah, 135, growing. Steady dividend. Margin, strong. That is probably my connection. Cash flow. Okay. Yeah. So 52-week price change of 34%. Beta is 0.33, so the price volatility has been lower than the market average. Earnings September 21st. They only have 595 million shares. They've actually reduced the number of shares, so they've done some, I guess, buybacks or something. 6.4 billion in gross profit. Yeah, Michael Berry sold everything and bought one company, and they only build prisons. Yeah. So let's see what this. This is just an easy website that shows all the financial statements, but stockanalysis.com. I just found it one time and it was easy to use. So it's like the consensus. Wait, where is it? Hold consensus. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. But here's his other video from today.
What's up, everybody? It's the Common Sense Investor coming at you with another video. In this video, I want to talk about the history of my channel and how it got created, the ape being suspended in the foreign countries, and is the ape
that was nonsense.
Squeeze really imminent? So, let's get started. Let's talk about the history of my channel, and more importantly, my history with AMC. All right. I first got into the market when I was using pandemic plays. It was Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, 3M, if you remember, made the mask. I bought into them. I made a few dollars as it went along. And then as the came to an end, I said, okay, it's time to start looking for some recovery plays. And since my very first job was in a movie theater, I stumbled across AMC, and I seen that it was up from $1.91 to $3 something. So I bought in, and I told my friend about it, and he bought in because we were discussing together what stocks we should get. And so we got AMC at 312, and it run up to 7 something, and I sold, made over 100%. 100% on a fucking common stock play is great. So I sold. Then it fell back like we figured it would, and we got back in around 5, and it run up to 12. Sold. Made over another 100%. I am rocking this motherfucker, I'm thinking. Then I wake up, and
oh, good. Okay, glad I got the right one here.
And I said, holy shit. And then, as I continue to watch it, that son of a bitch runs all the way up to 72. And I said, what is going on here? And I took to YouTube and I Googled AMC, and that's when I found out, somewhere around here, that AMC was in a squeeze play. So I studied squeeze plays and I found out what was going on, and I said, oh, that's y'all's ass. So I jumped in around 42. Now, little side note here, when this thing run up and I was able to get in, that's because somebody took profit. When this motherfucker run up and it fell back down to 42, somebody sold and made profit, and I bought.
How dare they do that?
I've been holding the bag ever since.
How dare they?
So keep that in the back of your head for your investment. Somebody's always taking profits. Somebody's always going to hold the fucking bag. It's going to depend on us which one we are. But that's a side note. I got back in at 42, and I've been in this play ever since. But now,
dear Lord,
around December,
damn,
and I come to my conclusion that the buy button being taken away was not a bad thing. Okay? That meant that they could not, if I could not buy, they could not sell. And they never touched the sell button. That's a little history. Now let me take you to the present. We're looking at ape now. And ape is suspended in the foreign countries right now. And I want you to listen to Donahue, and he's going to give you an explanation as to why.
God.
I'm getting messages from all over the globe that ape shares cannot be bought in Germany, in France, in England, in the Netherlands, probably in Asia also. Who knows? But the bottom line is this. Every other country except the United States knows that there are no ape shares available.
Oh, is that why?
Every other country refuses to sell counterfeit shares to their shareholders or to their clients. Only in the United States can you buy ape shares at this point. What does that tell you? Well, I'll tell you what it tells me. It tells me that there are no ape shares left to buy, and the only shares that you're going to find in the U.S. market are counterfeit ape shares. And this tells me that the ape Moass is imminent.
Now, let's take a step back again real quick, and you're going to understand my purpose of what I'm talking about. Back in December, when I kept hearing the YouTubers crying about the buy button disappearing. Oh, that's just not fair. Like a bunch of kids kicking on the floor. All right? They won't let us buy no more synthetic counterfeit shares. And that's our right to be able to buy counterfeit shares if we want to. Went out to cry to the fucking AMC community by the YouTubers. We'll stop right there. That's when I started my channel. I said, no, they're wrong. Stop listening to these dickheads. Let's go back. Right now, in the foreign countries that Donahue mentioned, and more, probably, they're not allowing their people to buy. They can sell, because I got a video of somebody being able to sell, but they couldn't buy. And I got another video of both of them disappearing. But some people are allowing their investor base to sell their ape if they want to, but they cannot buy. Why? Because it's all counterfeit, and they're not going to let that into their market. Okay? Because up until this point,
but what about
when they could not get the shares to those companies outside the U.S., they said, stop, we're not doing that shit in our country. Back up a little bit further. Remember when I told you they took the buy button from us right here, and the YouTubers were crying? If they had kept their mouth shut, I've told y'all before, the Moass was on. And they like to say, oh, well, you notice how after they took the buy button, we went on a decrease.
Good question.
No, they took the buy button on the 28th. And on the 29th, it was back, and we still continued an upward move, even though the candles were red. It wasn't until 3 days after the buy button coming back into play that the stock fell. And I've told everybody how this worked out. That at this point, when they went to crying that we had the right to buy synthetic Guatemalan naked bullshit counterfeit shares, they said sell them to them. And then we went into a period of dips and rips and dips and rips. And that's when I figured out, who do you think created the phrase buy the dip? Now, you know it's being ran by an algorithm, and the algorithm determines whether the fucking stock goes up or down. And if it's going down and the narrative on YouTube is buy the dip, that came from the hedgies. Because every time they dipped it, we'd buy it, they'd rip it for us, give us hope, then they'd dip it back down, and the cry would go out again. And it ripped, and then it dipped, and it was a process over and over till eventually we ran up to 72. But I theorized, and I told everybody, if you keep your mouth shut with this button disappearing, the Moass is in play, because your sell button is still there. That is where we're at today in the foreign countries.
Okay.
Some of them, most of them, will let them sell ape, but they won't let them buy ape. So
what?
What's my message tonight? My message tonight is,
why would you want to buy it anyway?
If you can understand.
Here is something. So this is from that frequently asked questions. It says, I am an international shareholder. Will I receive the AMC preferred equity unit dividend? And it says AMC will be delivering it via computer share to the DTC for all shareholders who will then deliver them to your broker. Regardless of whether you are a U.S. or international shareholder, how each broker handles the dividends is determined by the broker and is governed by your brokerage agreement. Shares of common stock held through a depositary receipt program will be subject to the terms of that arrangement. In other words, if you own a depositary receipt in a foreign country, you got to see what the rules, what the agreement says, the terms of the arrangement. You may not get it, but that's getting it. It doesn't talk about trading. It just says, it's governed by the rules of whatever of the country. Make sure you get your NFT by, well, the instructions will be sent on the 19th. Why so long? Okay. Anyway, probably doesn't really.
You wake up Tuesday and the buy button is disappearing. That is totally fine, people. That means it is game on. That means your sell button is still in front of you and you have the right to push that motherfucker whenever.
Yeah, we haven't looked at any of that stuff yet, but I'm going to here shortly.
The buy button will be taken away. And let me tell you something. If I hear one fucking YouTuber cry about that buy button, I'll tell you this.
I don't have money, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
And if you bring up the fact of them taking that buy button as a bad thing,
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
I'm just kidding. That movie ranks up there with the best I've ever seen. I love that scene right there. Here's the point. When we wake up, whichever day it's going to be, and the buy button is gone, don't panic. That means the squeeze is here. That as long as the buy button is gone, they are cleaning up their messes. They will have to buy our shares from us, and they will have to be getting them over there to our brothers and sisters. And the cycle's going to repeat itself for ain't no telling how many billions of counterfeit shares. So,
what?
Relax. Enjoy the ride. It's almost over.
Oh my God.
With that, I'm fixing to let y'all go. My next video. Let me tell you something about this next video.
Hey, Internet.
Me and Chris in the Discord. Chris sent me a message and he said, "Say, CSI, would you be interested in information on BlackRock being suspended for trading?" And I said,
we already looked at that.
I want that information because he's my research guy.
Research guy. All right. Cool. Oh, how was piano class? How is it? Quadrillion. Okay, where is the... There was a response here somewhere. The hard truth about AMC CEO Adam Aron. Top 4 reasons I'm not selling AMC. AMC preferred equity banned. AMC big catalyst. Massive crisis is here with short the VIX in his nice jacket. The dark reality of the stock market by Trace Trades. Citadel scandal trending again. Keenan Grace. Which one? Where should we go next? Yeah. Practice. Very good. Chris infiltrated CSI. I mean, I know it's going to be garbage, but I am curious about, where is it? I'm curious about Trey's The Dark Reality of the Stock Market. He must have lost money on Friday or something. Here we go. But it's 25 minutes. God. Why does it take 25 minutes to explain that? People like Ryan Cohen always seem to make money, and people like you don't?
Have you ever noticed that whenever the general consensus amongst retail seems to be about the same, that the opposite tends to happen? Because,
hey, you know what? If it's obvious, it's obviously wrong. If you had been watching this channel, you'd know that. And that you'd also know that the guy who said that is the guy that created the on-balance volume indicator. So it's not coming from, you know, just some yahoo named Scott. But yeah, and that's the whole nature of the be greedy when people are fearful and be fearful when people are greedy saying. And it's also, you know, basically the same sentiment as when it's time to short, there won't be any shares left to borrow. So, what obvious shit is he going to talk about today? Oh, the media, of course.
way up, and then they end up doing nothing or bombing. And this amongst retail seems to be about the same, that the opposite tends to happen. Because I myself have as well. We've had,
air fryers are the shit. Air fryers are the shit. I love my air fryer.
In the past, where people think they're going to go way up, and then they end up doing nothing or bombing, and then the opposite, where we think a stock is going to plummet down to the freaking shadow realm, and then they end up going to the moon. Well, I'm going to present to you guys a theory today on something I think explains a lot of why these sort of things happen, and that is based on Composite Man. Now, I know, you're going to think to yourself, this freaking tinfoil hat son of a bitch thinks he fucking... But this is really a legitimate thing that I don't think is that tinfoil hatty, especially if you put it into different context, which I think I'm going to be able to do for you here today. This is the theory of Composite Man, and I like to think of Composite Man as old money. It is the most wealthy, most powerful individuals and entities on planet Earth that I would consider to be Composite Man. I'm going to walk you through what I think it looks like to be able to understand who Composite Man is, the role that Composite Man plays in the market, and how we can actually use this to our advantage moving forward to maybe take things into a different perspective and understand why maybe things are happening the way they are. So let's just start off by getting right into this. All right. To understand Composite Man, we have to understand the purpose of the market. So why was it created? Right? And if we think about this, it was really for, I'd say, three big things. It was to allow businesses to expand and grow. This is good for our economy, right, within the United States. It's to allow investors to make money. And then probably third is some illegal stuff like
cleaning money. So this is
money.
like Wyckoff.
Think about this.
Based on Wyckoff theory, essentially. I'm just going to skim, because I'm sure there are better explanations out there than what he's got. Oh, I want, like, I can't even. I'll tell you what, let's go here. Let's go back over here. Net profit. Huh. Yes, Antoinette profits. Okay. So what? Be the contrarian. Oh dear, look at him espousing contrarianism while telling you that AMC is going to go to the moon and it's going to squeeze. What the fuck? Come on. What a grifter. What is this? All right, I'll just drop in and listen to him here. Fucking hell. You will.
Eyeballs on infrastructure. What I mean by this is
you will,
how do things look, broadly speaking, within the United States? How strong do things look? Are we investing money back?
We will. Okay, we will.
Into the United States, or are we creating a narrative where maybe it looks like our empire may be coming to an end? News, hit pieces, good news. I very firmly and strongly believe that composite man, or old money, as we know it, influences the news that comes out on a day-to-day basis in order to get retail investors or dumb money to invest money in a certain direction and bet against it.
Why are you listening to the news?
Market mechanics. They're able to influence what rules, filings, regulations, enforcements take place on a day-to-day basis. Networking, right? They're able to connect with other wealthy firms, have these idea dinners where they're able to get huge.
Oh, I was wrong last time on that, but I might have to, sit that out too again. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I guess I'll just have to see what happens Tuesday.
Right? This is another idea: supply and demand, liquidity. When you have a shit ton of money, you have enough money to move a stock in the direction you want, even including the fucking SPY, an index fund. Right? When we talk about stocks being manipulated up and down, it's not just down; it's also up. This is the means in which it can happen: is when there's enough money poured into something. When you control the supply and demand, you get to choose the direction that things go. Social media, you're damned if you think that social media.
I mean, it depends on how aggressive the buyers or sellers are. But, okay.
Is not being manipulated and hunted, and narratives are created in order to get people to think certain things. Sentiment influence, and this can tie back to social media. It can also tie to psyops, which ultimately ties back to a narrative. Contrarian man of capital, right? So, if composite man is a contrarian, how can retail benefit from even knowing this, recognizing that this theory may have some basis points
Mrs. Charlotte's
may actually bear some weight? By being aware that there are sides and that the other goal is there to take money from us. If we know as retail investors that typically there is a contrarian perspective, right? And that there's likely an entity or multiple
then you
entities,
get stuff like this, though,
money that want to take from us, that want to use the stock market not as a tool to transfer wealth from the impatient to the patient, but to transfer wealth from the unknowledge to the knowledge, the ignorance, blissful people to the corrupt, right? We can use that.
Then you get people like this. I got to go all the way back down to it. Fuck is it? Oh, Trey, you speak my words. Retail is 100% thinking bear market and haven't seen low of year. For that reason, I think we have seen the low of the year 100%. Because, contrarianism. Need the dog food discount. Sounds like Trey thinks he can't win. Maybe time to buy. Only people that are crying tinfoil hat are bots and shills. Phase 6, do you ever talk about it? Why would he? As long as the market is pushing down, AMC will not squeeze. Pass it up. What the fuck, Trey? You got ads now. Agreed. SPY will rally end of year. Trey must have said that. Love the perspective, Trey. SPY back to 415 this week. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Here it is. Here it is. I figured I'd just find it on here instead of showing the screenshot. Composite man is Trey's pathetic explanation for his horrible predictions by none other. Oh, made it too big. Shit. Whoops. Composite man is where the fuck did it get his composite man is Trey's pathetic explanation for his horrible predictions from none other than our Manny. If this channel hits 2K subs, Bed Bath & Beyond will squeeze. A gypsy at the crossroads told me. Okay. All right. I'll take that. So, exactly the same thing they did to Trump. Mm-hmm. Your tinfoil hat. Where is it? This tinfoil hat son of a bitch has figured out the secrets of finance. Not really.
To our advantage. And I want to give you an example of what I'm talking about. And I want to make it very clear that this is just a theory based on things that I think make pretty good sense. I'm going to use this as an example. It's the 2022 bear market, right? Lots of people have been sort of anticipating, talking about, preparing for the bear market that presently exists within the United States stock market, right? The SPY has gone down, up, down, up, down, up 6 million times. And lots of retail investors are prepared for a bear market. In fact, I'd say that most of them believe that we haven't even hit the low of 2022 yet, right? But let's kind of dig into this a little bit. Let's think about this conceptually speaking. When was there ever a time in which retail investors were prepared for a bear market? Well, you can make the argument that the internet, it sort of opens up ideas and allows people to talk and construe things, but you're wrong if you don't think that Composite Man plays a role in that.
Money,
Retail investors can be manipulated via social media, via sentiment trackers, via this, via that, to believe things that they want them to believe. So based on that,
like everything that you've been saying for the last year, I mean, let's be honest.
My theory is we won't experience a real bear market in 2022, meaning I think that by end of year, we're going to see the SPY rally and then we're not going to set a new low because
Dude, every time there's a rally, retail investors like, oh, the bear market's over. Time to buy the dip.
Much of retail, too many of retail are ready. Why does this matter? Because retail is never ready. The goal of Composite Man is to catch retail completely off guard. They don't want you understanding things. They don't want you to know why things are going up. They don't want you to know why things are going down. They want you to think things are going down when things are going up. They want you to think things are going up when things are going down. This is the goal of Composite Man because it traps the most people possible, right? So based on this thought process, Composite Man wants to capitalize on retail's peak fear and peak euphoria, and this is typically by surprise, right? So if all of retail investors are bearish right now,
you mean like how everybody was fucking bullish on Bed Bath & Beyond, and then the motherfucker that they idolized pulled the rug out from under them, and now they're holding massive fucking bags? Like, you mean like that? Oh, okay. You mean like all the bullshit like that? Oh.
You can look at general sentiment on Twitter, and I see anytime I post that I don't think stocks are going to go.
Every time he learns about something, this year, comes out these videos, and it's like, oh, look how smart I am. Look how smart. Fucking asshole.
Dipshit, which is fair enough. Fair. I understand. I get that. Fair enough. This is my answer back to you. I know this because of the generalized sentiment, right? I pay pretty good attention. I think that the majority of people sort of think this. And if this is the case, I don't think Composite Man is setting up for stocks to go down. I don't know what the narrative is going to be, but let me bring you back to case in point, the tools and the opportunity that money can buy you. You can buy mainstream media. You can buy politicians, economics, geopolitical climate, diseases, infrastructure, news, market structure, networking, lobbying, supply and demand, social media, sentiment, influence. There's a whole bunch of things. There's a list. You can go down the list, down the list, and down the list, which brings me to this. If this is the case, too many retail are ready for a bear market. So Composite Man will want to trap retail and bear sentiment. Why? Well, I return you back to case in point, right?
Well, another way that they could trap retail and I mean, I would hope that he would mention this, would be that, you know, retail thinks that we've hit a low and they start buying, and then it goes lower and they get fucked that way. So, I mean, I think he's probably thinking too one-dimensionally here, but I don't know.
He invests money against the narrative. And right now, the narrative is that stocks are going to go down. You think of Michael Burry. You think of lots of the different hit pieces coming out. You think about the generalized sentiment towards inflation. You think about the negative sentiment, right? We're in a very fearful environment right now. There are a lot of people who think that the stock market is going to absolutely die for just years and years and years and years and years. And this is way too much eyeballs, way too many eyeballs that Composite Man wants. He doesn't want this many eyeballs thinking the same thing, right? So how is he going to accomplish this? How would he, trap retail and bear sentiment, broadly speaking, right? By using his power, mainstream media, politicians, Fed, economics, narrative, media, reported data, etc., to move
the Fed
stocks in the opposite direction. See, when you are truly wealthy, when you have power,
the Fed,
power is
what are you talking about? The Fed
move things based.
What are you talking about? The Fed. The Fed is going to move stocks up. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? No, they're not going to move stocks up. Have you not been listening? No, and you know what, Model 3 dude? I don't think it's too soon. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Personally. I mean, shit, you should have. It was brutal in Telegram
how much
earlier.
Money you have. And I'm not even just talking by supply and demand. I'm talking by all those 15 different things that I listed off as ideas, right? You can make things happen however the fuck you want. When you're a trillionaire, man, you can buy an entire fucking country. So to think that you can't move a stock based on who you know, the networks you have, right? It's ludicrous. It certainly happens. So by this theory, the market should run into end of year to catch the most retail by surprise. And if not by the end of the year, you get my point. It's just going to be when retail is least expecting it, when retail is too bearish, when they're so bearish that it just looks like, everybody's on the same page. Things have to go down. They're going to make things go up. Which brings me to my final conclusion, right? We kind of broadly talked about Composite Man, the theory of Composite Man, the purpose of Composite Man, why this is important, right? What are the takeaways that we can actually have? 3 things. Number 1, Composite Man wants to make money off retail. Number 2, Composite Man accomplishes this by narratives and follow through of power. When you are rich like this, your goal is not freedom. It is power. It is taking away freedom from others, right? Number 3, retail being aware of the contrarian viewpoint can help us be conscientious of potential directions. I have been talking about when too much of retail thinks we're going up, I think we're going down. And when too much of retail thinks we're going down, I start to think we're going up. And the reason for this isn't because I think that retail is dumb. And in fact, it's quite the opposite. Retail is very logically based. However, it is because
what are you talking about, bro? Money, God, he's so full of shit.
The narrative does not want retail on the same page.
Sounds like he's pretty much saying the same shit that Frankie Mohammed's saying at this point. The hedge funds and the 1% are, Jack just dropped. Did he drop to the ground? Oh, I mean, oops. Sorry. That's not what I meant. I mean, oops. Eek.
I would challenge you to this. I would challenge you to sit down and constructively think, what does big money, what do the trillionaires want me, the peon, to think right now about what's going on in the stock market? Whenever you're seeing something issued to you on the front page of a magazine or the front page of a news outlet,
why would you be looking at magazines and news outlets?
It's not usually to help you. It's usually to fuck you. So if you think about things in this narrative, you're going to second guess whenever
it's not news. That it's the opposite of what the media is saying. I don't think that's a good way to look at it, personally.
Piece comes out, or MSM says this, or something's happening with the economy, or a politician goes here, or this and that happens, right? You're going to look at this in a way to think, hey, instead of looking at this like it is, assuming that they're just pitching me information because they want me to know, what if they're pitching me this information because they don't want me to know something? What if they're pitching me this information because it's the opposite of what they want me to think? Typically, Rich people just want to take money from poor people. And that's really the truth of the matter here. And when we're talking about composite, man, right? If you're a millionaire, you're still not there. You're not even close. Even if you're 100 millionaire, you're not there.
So you're not there yet, Trey, are you?
Countries. These guys could legitimately buy out countries with the amount of power and the amount of money they have. And I think it's important that sometimes we recognize that because people get screwed.
Trey, welcome to capitalism. Okay? Welcome to capitalism. It's clear you never took a fucking college course, an economics course. So you're just figuring this shit out. Okay? Great. But, and most of your audience probably has, never mind. Most of his audience probably hasn't either. But I mean, shit. Like, so does that mean he's not going to put out bullshit about it? That's the only thing I want to know. That's all I care about right now. Is he going to stop lying? Or should we just assume that the opposite of whatever he says is true? Like, where to go with this? Where do we go with this? Yeah, it's probably like EVP, CF. Probably all the C-suite guys were probably executive vice presidents too, right? Like, isn't that kind of like a ceremonial or like a formality thing? But he hasn't put out a video all weekend other than this one. This was his masterpiece for this weekend.
Day, and we'll continue to get screwed every single day until, I would honestly argue, the end of time, because that's sort of how money works. When you're powerful like this, when you have that much capital, you can accomplish whatever you want. And I think the goal for retail is to be able to understand this so we can try our best to capitalize and ride the wave whenever necessary. So that's what I got. I hope that theory makes sense. People asked me to make this video on a live stream yesterday. So there you go. I'm going to go to the movies now. I'll catch you later. Watch all my taps. Peace.
So, thanks, Model 3 dude. You know, seriously, does that mean he's done with that bullshit? Okay. But doubtful. Not familiar with this guy. Is he legit? You must be new here. SEC is finally investigating AMC synthetic shares after taking seriously the so many complaints. This guy also claimed that Citadel moved to Florida because they're basically on the verge of bankruptcy, even though where is that? I have the article. I printed it or saved it. Somewheres. Send documents. Right here. So, Al's brother. Citadel Securities revenue surges to $4.2 billion on volatility. Market's wild swings generate 23% bump in trading revenue. Firm posts 10 straight quarters of revenue above $1 billion. Ken Griffin, Citadel Securities raked in a record $4.2 billion in first half net trading revenue, capitalizing on this year's surge in market volatility and stepping up its competition with the biggest banks. Revenue soared 23% from last year's first half. Citadel has posted 10 consecutive quarters of net trading revenue in excess of $1 billion, with 8 of those surpassing $1.5 billion. Volatility spurred by interest rate hikes, surging inflation, recession fears, and Russia's invasion of Ukraine has benefited trading operations across Wall Street. The biggest banks pulled in $29 billion in trading revenue during the second quarter, a 21% increase over the prior year. Leading the pack was JPM, which reported a $7.8 billion haul from the business. Citadel's figures are being disclosed to investors as part of a $400 million incremental loan the closely held firm is seeking, which will be used to build trading capital and for general corporate purposes. So let's be unequivocally clear, with no doubt whatsoever here, okay? When we see things like this, when we find it, shit, we see things. Come on, where is he? When you see things like this clown posts, Thomas James Property Investing. That's his YouTube username, by the way. Thomas James Property Investing. Let's be 100% clear about this. Citadel is insolvent. Citadel is insolvent. Yeah, I think he's got others too. Citadel going bankrupt. Citadel just lost $94 billion. Well, no. And there's other ones too, I'm sure, but Citadel is insolvent. Citadel is going bankrupt. Citadel just lost $94 billion. No, they didn't. I mean, in fact, they reported $1.9 billion of net trading revenue during the second quarter of this year, which is up from $1.3 billion from the same period last year. Right? So, Virtu also saw its rise. They're publicly traded. And this is not a company that's in trouble. Not at all. So anyway, that shit is annoying. Very annoying. And then, so then we had Toshil Fadzlula. Sorry, I got him confused with Tom Fadzullo. We have here we go. Investors to withdraw their money. Why are we talking about the hedge fund? Who cares? Who cares? And then AMC daily chart making a base to move higher soon, bottoming out, consolidation seen. Citadel moved to Florida because less COVID restrictions. Probably so they don't have to deal with the bullshit in Chicago too. Ken, not going to pay people to sit around. Hey, Omar. They will never have money issues as they are too big to fail. This stock will explode. Apple? I mean, this shit, it's just like ridiculous now. AMC shooting today. Oh yeah, we had that AMC shooting last night, yesterday, whatever.
What's going on, my silly little motherfuckers? All right, listen. Just right now I found out that an AMC theater, some fucking way out there, motherfucker was like out I don't know, for $3 8 night or something. I don't know.
Lynn, you didn't hear about the AMC shooting? Really? Now, but some commenters saying it was a false alarm, but no. This says 2 teens injured after Saturday shooting in parking lot outside AMC Theater in Largo. I'm guessing that's Florida. But there was also one, oh no, Prince George's County. So that's, I think that's Virginia or Maryland or something. Let's see. National Cinema Day. It happened during National Cinema Day. Magic Johnson Capitol Center, AMC. Maryland. No deaths, it looks like, so. National Cinema Day, $3. So that's what happens when you have movie tickets for $3. You lure people that, yeah. No, we talked about it in Telegram, Lynn, so. But anyway, so that's that one. Now, there's also, just the same one, there's also one in Florida. So there's one in Maryland, D.C. area, and one in Florida. Now, according to the Sheriff's Office, just seeing this for the first time, social media reports of an active shooter at the Brandon AMC movie theater are untrue. False alarm. No victims. However, there was one in Prince George's County. And there was, yeah. So that is actually is true. This is why I don't mix with the general public. Yeah, that's a good point. So, but there was an AMC shooting.
Something happened and somebody shot somebody. And I'm thinking to myself, like, could you imagine that? You're feeling fucked up and down. Your ape is missing. The price is down. You don't know what to do. Fucking Popcorn sends you a tweet.
This is not the greatest thing to be joking about, I don't think. So I'm going to stop that right there. I don't want to get dinged for that. That's not, no, we're not going to put those ideas out there. Sorry. All right. This will probably be the last video, I'm thinking. Unless there's something that somebody suggests that pops up or whatever. Just, he looks so nice.
What's going on, everybody?
Oh,
welcome back
what's
to
going on?
Video. So in this one, first, I just want to say, hopefully you guys are having an awesome long weekend here. I know you guys did absolutely amazing over this last week with the volatility. Hopefully you're able to enjoy yourselves. But in this one, we're going to be going over a very significant crisis that is forming in the overall market that nobody is talking about right now. And it's something that you guys need to be aware of, especially going into not only the September Fed meeting, but towards the end of the year as well, because people are focused on one thing when they really should be looking at something else to look at and kind of determine where price is going to move in terms of overall expectations going into the future. So again, guys, if you do enjoy these types of videos, the information and analysis that I do provide you guys, all I ask, go down and hit that like button. It helps get this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys do want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well and drop a comment down below of what your favorite trade was over this past week. So let's get right into it here and pull up the chart of the SPY on this daily time frame here.
Favorite
so
trade.
1348 is going to paint the perfect picture for us. It's the most profitable EMA crossover and why it's on our charts all of the time. Now, looking at this here, we did just get this daily cross down. Now, typically when we see these cross downs on the daily, we are going to see a little bit of a continued move. But looking at what we're seeing on the different support and resistance lines right here, we are slipping down below this key support level here, and we also have
got our support and resistance indicator on.
pretty significant gap right at 389. Remember, a couple of days ago, we were talking about the market, and if it slipped to that 393 level initially, it was going to come down to 390, then bounce right back up. And that's exactly what we saw. And now we are coming back down, approaching that 390 level here as well. And when we look at what happened with the market on Friday, this is one of the most interesting moves that I've seen in a while, and there's a very specific reason as to why. You saw some of the jobs numbers, unemployment data start to come out, which is what a lot of people are focusing in on right now, which they don't necessarily need to be. We saw a little bit of relief coming,
which they don't necessarily need to be.
Up to that 401.60 level, and then a nasty cross down, and everybody started to print. Again, guys, our Invictus algorithm called this out at 12:22 p.m. It's a predictive algorithm on the 5-minute time frame. So if you guys are interested in kind of getting access to this, it's one of the most powerful options here. Taking this down,
you're never going to show the times when it fails. You will never tell us about the times when your little bot failed. That's why I don't care.
Farm payrolls right here came in a little bit lower than expected, meaning that the growth in the addition to people to the workforce, excluding basically agriculture, was a little bit lower than what the market was actually pricing for. The unemployment rate went up, and the average hourly earnings of those employed went down.
Oh, wow.
So remember what we were talking about a couple of days ago with the overall job market and what the Fed needs to see. If we start to see a hot job market,
but the fucking participation rate was up. The participation rate among 25 to 54-year-olds was actually up. Average earnings are down. Unemployment rate's up 0.2%. But the labor force participation rate was also up, it looks like 2, maybe 4%. 0.2 or 4/10. I can't tell if that's a 6 or an 8. What? Okay.
A lot of jobs getting added back to the market. Well, we're most likely going to see the Fed be even more aggressive. But if we start to see kind of a softening labor market we could see the Fed start to back off. But there's a wild card here in a crisis that people just aren't really focused in on, and it's leading to a couple of pretty big mispricings in the overall market here. And we can see that in this Fed Watch tool right here. Well, yes, we did see these job numbers over this last week start to get a little bit softer. Now, you can look at this from a variety of different lenses, but there's really mainly two. You can look at it as kind of the financial stability of the everyday American, or kind of the overall macroeconomic environment. The data that came out for everyday Americans, not great. The data for what the Fed can potentially do in terms of its policy going forward, it might give them a little bit of wiggle room to be a little bit less hawkish here. But what we're seeing is a 57% chance now that they're going to be doing a 75 basis point hike in September. Well, remember a couple of days ago, that was at 75%. So the market, for some reason now, after the jobs data, is pricing in lower rate hikes. But what this shows us here, that it's basically 50-50 here, is
it's pricing in a less chance, which is still more than 50% of a higher hike. What? No, way to twist the fucking reality. Jesus Christ.
They are uncertain as to whether or not a 50 basis point hike or a 75 basis point hike is going to happen.
Listen
and that's
to him.
Going
he
to lead
still
to
thinks that they're not going to fucking raise. Oh, what an idiot.
If you were to see
what an idiot.
The 75 basis point range, this target rate of 300 to 325 basis points, shoot up to like 95, well, then that would mean that the 75 basis point hike is already priced in and the market already expects it. Right now, well, the market doesn't really expect it yet. So there could still be more pricing in, and we could start to see the market come down. And going back to this chart here, throwing this back on the daily time frame, in looking at kind of where we could see the market go, we could end up seeing the SPY end up touching that 380 level, depending on what the data next week comes out at. But I'll update you guys on everything about that coming out. I think it is the one at AMC. But kind of going off of what we were talking about just now with that jobs data, and kind of going into what we were talking about with the Fed, they have been talking about, especially since Jackson Hole here, that they do need to really come out and get inflation under control. You can see right here, pain management, not pain avoidance. And that's pain for essentially the overall economy. The Fed is walking a very fine line right now with pushing us too far deep into a recession, or not doing enough in letting inflation run out of control. But this is where the massive crisis comes in that you guys need to be aware of and it's oil. When we come over to this article right here, we're seeing this start to happen in the UK right now, and the oil markets are incredibly important right now. Now, yesterday, when we did start to see the market here, let's throw this back on the 5-minute, start to trend up here to that previous level of resistance, this 401.50 level, we ended up starting to get more oil news, and this move was very, very aggressive. When we come over to this piece right here from Goldman Sachs, today G7 ministers announced that they were moving ahead with implementing a price cap on Russian oil by December 5th, with the specific goal of avoiding losses of Russian oil supply next year. Again, if the supply decreases and the demand goes up, you're going to see higher oil prices just based off the normal supply and demand metrics. Conceptually, such a price cap, if fully successfully implemented, will allow Russian oil to flow while simultaneously achieving Europe's aims of limiting Russian oil export revenues. At present, the price cap is addition to the EU embargo rather than substituting for the ban. And you can see the title here, Russian price cap. They're talking about oil prices here, bearish in theory, bullish in practice. The key risk to this policy, however, is the potential for Russian retaliation, which would turn this into an additional bullish shock for the oil market. Consistent with actions taken in the natural gas market, Russia could opt to retaliate, cutting G7 buyers off and shutting in production, thereby elevating global prices and its own revenues, even assuming higher logistical costs to non-participating countries. So what we're seeing here is a very, very interesting time going into the end of the year where everybody kind of realizes, but not fully yet, that as the weather starts to get colder across the globe, the demand for oil is going to go up. When we come over here and take a look at essentially how much oil prices are actually affecting inflation or the consumer price index, the CPI, it is very, very significant. Here, gasoline prices are so much more volatile than other CPI components that even though gasoline makes up less than 6% of the CPI, it is often the main source of monthly price movements in all items of the index. So if you start to see oil go up, it's going to affect not only the oil component of CPI, but like we were saying before, a lot of the other components of the consumer price index, and you are going to see inflation persist. So kind of wrapping this up here, we did see the labor market start to soften a little bit, but the Fed is also going to be looking at what is going to happen with the oil market, because that is going to be driving inflationary pressures in not only the economy, but the worldwide economy as well. So guys, that is kind of going to wrap up this video here. If you did enjoy the information and analysis that I provided for you guys in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. Again, it costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people.
Get some new material. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. Goodbye.
What's going on, AMC? Listen, I've chugged a lot of beers in my day, but I think it's important to talk about. This is my first beer chug at an AMC theater. I've had beer at an AMC theater, but this is the first chug, so let's get to it. And all the shows and bots out there, listen, go fuck yourself. Let's do this. I failed on this. This is ice cold. AMC's got ice cold beer. Cut that right there. What's going on?
Sweet. Awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Where's Jack Hunter at? All right, here we go. Be the last one. Yeah, that was like 5th grade.
Hey guys, it's Jackson Hunter. Welcome back to another AMC.
Where's he at? Where is he? Where is he?
Update. Today is Sunday, September 4th. Hopefully you're having a beautiful weekend. You want to hear something funny? I thought last Thursday was the beginning of the NFL regular season. Turns out it wasn't. So I've got to wait a couple more days now, but the NFL season is starting this Thursday, and it's going to be a great season.
Who was holding the camera,
you guys are pumped.
I want to know.
Okay, so AMC on Friday, was up 3.5%, ending the day at $8.88 on a volume of 27.5 million. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do not make investments based on what I say in my content. And yes, that is a green screen behind me. Check this out. Just going through AMC on Twitter.
Screen.
They had their $3 showtimes yesterday on September 3rd. Hopefully you guys took advantage of that. Then we got
even better Model 3
from
dude,
AMC
green screen
Theater right here. Here is AMC Theater in Times Square. So people are Billy Eichner and I believe Judd Apatow. It's called Bros. It comes out at the end of September, towards the end of September. I think Billy Eichner is hilarious, so you guys should check that out when it comes out. He's been outspoken about supporting the theaters as well.
See it now because you think we should. I'll never
support his movie when it comes out. It's called Bros. Check this out. Adam Aron said
I would never watch
AMC
I would never watch a movie called Bros anyway. So
1.6 million tickets and a ton of food and drink in the U.S. for yesterday's National Cinema Day. Movie theaters are dead is such a load of Meriday. Per an earlier tweet, Google it. It's more classy and
God, he is so
as CEO. I should try to be classy.
Like,
Meriday
he is so uncool. Like Adam Aron is just lame.
Classy
Jesus
in French.
Christ.
As a CEO, I should
Cringe,
try to be
even.
classy. Meriday means shit in French. Okay.
So what do you think about that, Lynn? Classy enough for you? French?
Looks like there was a really good day on September 3rd, $3 movie day. Check out this article written by Jennifer Soar from Business Insider. Nearly 2 years after the meme stock revolution, retail traders are holding on even as volatility hammers markets in 2022.
Oh,
wow, that is a truthful
piece.
statement. I appreciate that, Jennifer Soar. And let's see. Stocks have to fall further to discourage the diamond hands retail crowd, experts say.
Experts. Who are the experts on diamond hands retail crowd, by the way? Who are the experts? I would love to know that. Maybe we'll
so
find
basically
out.
Zero, in my opinion. Retail investors are more likely to see volatility as an opportunity instead of a risk.
Trey, are you paying attention? Like, here you go, right here. Composite man.
Despite a bearish turn from professional traders who are getting defensive as volatility persists, retail's most bullish participants are still pushing a diamond hands world view. In other words, never sell. That consistent bullishness has puzzled some observers, but there might be an explanation for the attitudes of the perma bulls among retail traders. Stocks simply haven't fallen enough yet to scare them off. Hell no, man. I'm holding until zero or my price target. Okay, that's what I'm doing. You do whatever you want because it's your.
So where does contrarianism fit into that? Anywhere. I'm going to hold it until it goes to zero. Okay.
Money. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you for tomorrow's update. Oh, there's no stock market for tomorrow, so actually, I'll see you for Tuesday's update. Peace.
Sell due to a further fall. What tools? Okay. Right. Go down with the ship. That's the only thing to do that has any integrity, I guess. Okay. So here's our futures. So the S&P and the NASDAQ are up, actually. The dollar is also up. Volatility's down. Natural gas is mildly up. Crude oil is up. But, you know, the futures market will close tomorrow. I forget exactly what time. And we'll reopen on tomorrow night. So, masked investor, unmasked investor says market crash incoming. Everything you need to know in 4 minutes. I can give him 4 minutes. I can do that. That I can do. Then I will kick the song. And
what's going on, guys? My name is TMI and welcome back to the channel. Now, for the longest point in time now, people seem to be speaking about this overall market crash situation. Market crash. Now, it seems to be very well concluded that this market will pull back. People don't know exactly when, they don't know exactly how, they don't know by how much, but everyone seems to be of the understanding that this market, as it currently stands, does need to pull back. So we are all prepared for it whenever that time does come. Now, I don't think that estimating the exact time and estimating how much can be done by anybody. I mean, there are probably those.
So, yeah, he's saying everybody's prepared for it. Trey's theory says they'll never be prepared for it, so it's not happening.
Those who are, you know, in the know, who kind of know exactly when this thing's going to come down, but we'll leave that part for later. But I do feel like we can get a better understanding for why to do with. And I think it does add a lot of insight, a lot of value, and I hope you guys do enjoy. Before we get to this clip, guys, if you guys would not mind, of course, smash the like button. Feel free to press subscribe.
No.
It's happening now.
It'll never happen.
Here we go.
The thing that you have to do before you talk about what is happening now, I think it's probably useful to go back, and you have to really start at the end of the great financial crisis. And the reason is there was a bunch of people coming out of the GFC who confused what the US government and some European governments were doing. At the time, there was the risk of a huge financial contagion. And so the US stepped in, and the Federal Reserve started to use their balance sheet to buy toxic assets, right? And the ECB did that, and I think Japan did that as well. Anyways, a bunch of banks did it. I mean, a bunch of governments did it. And then there was this body of pseudoscientific economists who coined this thing called modern monetary theory.
Quick note here. In short, he's referencing a theory that basically says you can pump the market, pump the economy. It won't just be good for the short term, but it'll also be good for long-term growth. This, of course, not so much true.
And it turns out that a bunch of government officials fell for it.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck
it was cold. And if you fast forward to
where it's cold and he needs to wear a goddamn hat. But anyway, and we didn't adopt MMT anyway.
2022,
did we adopt MMT?
14 years later, you know, governments around the world had printed something to the tune of about 35 odd trillion dollars of money into the economy that should have never been there. So the thing to remember is, like, we have not necessarily just been obfuscating true supply demand in the last 6 or 8 months when we've been talking about a recession or inflation. We've been actually doing it since 2008. It's just that it's been building up in the system. So one of the things that we have to realize is that all of that money somehow needs to get destroyed in some way, shape, or form if the true economic equilibrium is meant to be found. What is true supply? What is true demand in the absence of government sloshing money around, trying to prop up things that should not be propped up, or buying votes, or all the grifts that these folks have engaged in the last, decade and a half have to get undone.
And there you guys go. Over the next few months, guys, I do feel like we're going to see something not quite once in a generation, but maybe 2 or 3 times in a generation, but something pretty crazy happening in the market. We do want to get a better understanding for what's happening, and we also do want to understand how to potentially turn what is going to be a sizable size market crash into potentially life-changing money by investing and buying the dip, not being afraid of overall fear, and educating ourselves on why we're in the current situation and how we're going to get ourselves out of it. All right. My name is TMI, guys. I am the Masked Investor. If you guys did enjoy this video, guys, of course, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
One thing to say to that, here it is. Not necessarily to that specifically, but right. Thus, the reason for the interest rate hike, to kill the flow of easy money. Thus, the purpose of the balance sheet reductions, which are going to be accelerated. This starting this month, etc., etc. So, I mean, most of this shit didn't even talk about AMC. Trey debunked the Moass again, right? He debunked it.
At my show, yelling and screaming on the front row. Jumped on stage.
And no one's life is changing. Well, generational poverty, right? I don't think we can draw any conclusions from this today. We look at, let's go over here. I'm looking at my General Mills calls for next week, next month. Let's go to the ES. Just trying to see what the volume is. $28,000 contracts.
Out of sight, out of mind, sipping wine, someplace I can't hear you whine. You're too
and then
my chin is something.
We have another contract here.
You need to tuck your tail. You're a woman with
less on it, but
alpha male till you're laying on the ground, bleeding like hell, begging the cops to take me to jail. Inconsiderate.
Look at
selfish. When I open your legs, I smell fish. You talk too much to everybody. So flirtatious, so naughty. How can you be jealous on Facebook, keeping up with your ex-fellas? You full of shit, and you need to quit. Baby, you full of shit.
So this is a SPY. Let's see here. Yeah, 1.3 on the put call ratio.
Now what the fuck we supposed to do? You disrespect folks. I'll break your neck.
Expected moves for next week.
Don't provoke me, I might choke thee. Roll thee up and smoke thee. You're so annoying.
Friday was a $11.23 move in and of itself, the range at least.
It's not fly to me for you to invade my privacy. Money taking, trouble making, orgasm fake.
It's about 2%, I guess.
And they won't give me head. Oh, that's you. You want to run away with
a little over 2%.
Meet a new man in Florida. I'm in the studio.
Anyway,
rocking it steady. I'll visit my daughter when I get ready.
What's going on with the AMC options? Oh yes, of course, more calls. Of course. So interestingly, your deltas between 0 and 20, so those are the furthest out of the money, 32% of the calls. Over on the puts, the majority is in the middle, between 20 and 60 delta. So interesting. Probably more realistic. All right. Have a good rest of your holiday weekend, guys. We're going to be signing out. If anything else happens or anything, I will see you in Telegram or put out a short video or go live tomorrow, but I don't see that happening. Chris, Antoinette, let's see who else is in here. Model 3 Dude, Manuel, Lynn, anybody else who happens to be still there. We'll see you later. Enjoy, have a good weekend, be safe, and all that. Take care. See ya.